method that works, that is easy and fast. It's important because it saves time. So to make typography a more joyful process in InDesign, I think it's important to recognize there are some shortcuts to happiness. And the first one is by thinking about what you're making before you make it. Right now, my font is on Amarillo. Again, I've selected the type tool, but the size is on 12. And if I didn't want this typeface, which is this one, Amarillo, this is where I would first, before I start to type, pick my font. So I will pick a different font, and I might not like it, but here, Bernadette. It's got a good name. And then before I start typing, I'm going to make it large. I know this wants to be a headline. I'll pick the color. I'm going to make this black for now. I'm going to talk about rich black later. And then when I type, I'm also going to check myself that this is where I want it to align. I want it to align left. I'm comfortable with that for now. And then when I click, this click that I make is going to produce type that's using this font at this size and not something tiny that I can't read. Now, it doesn't look like anything happened yet. Maybe it didn't, but it should. All right, so instead of just clicking, because that's not working, I'm going to make a box. There we go. And you notice that the cursor flasher, or the I-beam flashing cursor, is looking very tall. And I'm going to type my type. Hello, world. And then from this point, I might want to make some changes. I can see it, which makes me really happy. It's large enough. I can click and drag over it, which I like to do by going from right to left, because my right hand does that more easily. If you're left-handed, you might be more comfortable going left to right, but I am right-handed. And then again, here I can click and do up arrow till I like the size. And then at that point, if I want it centered within the top area, notice my box fills from margin to margin. This is an easy way to make sure it's centered. Because the box is filling, I can click center, and I know for sure that this type is the size I want it and the position I want it. Again, if I want to change fonts, I can still do that now. And this method will make it much more simple. Oh, too big. I like it, but it's too big. And here, all of a sudden, it'll go up to 2 lines, and now I'm happy. So that is how to begin to create type the size you want. If, again, you want to grab a text tool, and here you can click and drag the box out. Still, don't type yet. Change the size, 30. Change the font. I'm just going to go with something simple here, Arial Black. Notice the height of the cursor is reflecting that this is 30-point type. And then I say, it's great to meet you. And that is my tip on how to easily get your type to look the way you want the first crack out of the box. Make a box, choose your settings. Again, I'm going to go with Arial, but not Arial Black, AR. If I type AR, it should bring me down to the Arials. There's my Arial. La la la. I'm going to pick something. I don't want that. I'll just pick Arial Bold. Maybe I'll come back and change that later. Just trying to make quick work of this. And most likely I'll want it something like 14 on automatic leading. And then at this point, if I want to just see what that looks like, I can do type, fill with placeholder text. And maybe I want less type, and I want it bigger. Select, click in the size field, increase the size with the up arrow. Click in the up arrow, click in the field for the size. Notice I just clicked up here, and down arrow smaller, up arrow larger. And yes, the same thing does apply to the line spacing or leading. And so that's the way to make your type without having to have a wrestling match with the type tool in InDesign.